And then I'm sat there on the table with the owner of the Pleasure Beach. And I was like, well, my nana used to work on the Pleasure Beach. She was like, oh, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing your act. So I went, okay, well, this is me. And within 2 minutes, the whole room was booing.
Hey, mate, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well. Excellent shirt.
Thank you, yeah.
It's a cross between sort of Bowie and darts.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, I give off a lot of dart energy, I think.
Yes.
I think often when I walk on stage, people think I'm looking for a board.
But not... Do you play darts?
No, I always think I'd be great because of my reach. Like, I could literally do that
yeah,
and just
yeah.
pop it in because I've got such long arms.
But it feels like you belong to darts of a different era.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It kind of like you'd be a real showman.
Yeah, I'd come on in a cape.
Yes, but all self-made.
Yeah, yeah,
It's kind of like that.
yeah.
I remember seeing. He's a Cockney, and he came out and he had like 8 lit candles. But it kind of looked like he'd bought the candles himself, and they were kind of running over his fingers, and like it was it was before darts got a budget.
Yeah, yeah,
Do you
all
know what I mean?
different like brands of candle, like
that's what I
different
mean.
sizes, and
It's sort of that era of where there was still showmanship, but you could see the admin behind the showmanship.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say with you, and I think that sort of fits comedically with you.
Oh,
I see the panicked buying.
Okay.
like when I see one of your shops, you look like. I imagine whenever I see you in Edinburgh, the day previously, you've been sort of scurrying around with a carrier bag.
Oh, I remember years ago, we were doing the Funs and Games, the kids show. I think it was the second one.
Yeah.
And I was in Poundland looking around, and Pappy's Fun Club were coming that way, and we all went, you need to pad the show out. Yeah, me too. We're all like trying to fight each other for a Nerf gun and stuff. So it's like that kind of, yeah, very much my style.
How's things anyway?
Good. They're all right, thank you. Yeah, it's been busy, and then I thought, because I've been quite busy for a while, I'd take a couple of weeks off, because obviously I do a lot of gigs, and that's how I earn a lot of my money. And I decided to take 2 weeks off. It's the worst thing I've ever... I got really... I started getting like a belly, which I didn't realise. When you sit and play Doom and don't move for 4 days, that happens after 40.
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it?
Where's your diet?
Where's my diet?
Like, but nobody's not talking about that. They're kind of... It's all about losing weight, but nobody's talking about how to acquire it quickly.
Oh, yeah, well, I might take up smoking again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that really helped. I had that really sinewy, like, addict, when they look ripped.
Somebody, a friend of mine referred to a Diet Coke the other day as a fridge cigarette.
Oh, nice.
I was like going, that's really good.
Fridge
Like,
cigarette,
you know what I mean?
like
Kind of
that,
exactly what it is. Of like, I know I shouldn't, but give me one of them fridge cigarettes. What is your first brilliant thing?
Well, I don't even know if it's actually the name of the thing. So I was going to put in French rhubarb.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I think everyone had a green they played on.
Yes.
Everyone was like, let's go to the green.
Yeah.
And,
funny though, isn't it? Different, like, so it was green when we lived in a place called Flitwick for a bit, and it was a green, and then it was a wreck, and then it was a park.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we had the wreck as well.
The first, when I was, my first kind of like play area was the green.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. And then when you get a bit older, let's go to the wreck.
Yeah.
And there's usually a bit of like asbestos you can all smash and some
and
concrete.
A sort of a bandstand.
Yeah.
Sort of once was the home of musicians, and now just fingering. Do you know what I mean? But
it's a lot of fingering in certain musical instruments.
True.
So
true.
It's like they're just human guitars.
So sorry.
Keeps me out of trouble.
So the rhubarb, the French rhubarb. Rather.
Yeah. So this was like. So I mean, I'm sure that your listeners will know what it's actually called. So we used to call it French rhubarb, and it was really tall stalks of very watery and malleable vegetation, and it grew very quickly. So over summer they would grow so tall. And above our height, and so we could like break up and make tunnels in them that we could run around in. So, and it was that era that you were 8, but you'd seen The Predator and RoboCop.
All right, phew.
Yeah.
I didn't know whether that was a film or a local man. Johnny, get in the rhubarb, the Predator's it.
Oh, he's chasing us again.
Exactly. Cover yourself in mud.
Yeah. And no one will ever believe you when you tell him.
Yeah.
I used to look after a guy when I was a kid. I always wondered about this. He was an older man. I used to go around and earn money, like doing people's gardens and really ruining the car, pretending to clean it with very liquid. And they give you £1. And we met this old guy. I will change his name to Harry. And and he was really nice. And I never had a granddad, so I would go around like every other weekend and just do his gardening. And my dad, I always remember my dad coming round just to sort of, and I didn't know why he'd come round, but it was obviously to go, I need to vet this man.
Yeah.
And he was great. And then he'd make me a coffee with cream. I used to like that. We don't need to go and we played games and chess and stuff. And then I was like, and I look back and I go, isn't it nice that he wasn't like a predator? It was just a nice friendship between an old man. But then I remembered once he did say, he said, so you can stay over because we were moving away. He says, you can stay over, got a spare room. He goes, and if you get cold, you can get in my bed for warm. And I thought, you know, maybe it was. He just never found the right time. But,
And yet, had he have fiddled you, you probably would have been even more successful.
I know,
So,
yeah.
like, do you know what I mean? Like, you look at some of the great comics, they all got felt up. Would it have killed that
Really?
old man to touch you?
Yeah.
And you're already good. Imagine how funny you'd be if you had that trauma.
Yeah, I mean, I could lie.
Yeah, it's funny though, isn't it? Those sort of relationships with my wife had a relationship with this old guy, and it was completely. But she used to just go walk dogs with him, completely fine and like lovely. But we now live in such a kind of cynical world where you're like, that can't happen, that can't happen.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
yet there are loads of. He might just have been going. It does get cold.
I think he
You
was,
can-
yeah.
you can-
it's just a
you can
funny
stay in my
memory.
bed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So I
totally.
think if he was,
Yeah.
he would.
I'm just saying, but not all old men are wrong'uns.
Well, his son had died in an accident.
Yeah.
So I think he was missing that connection.
Of course,
So I
of
don't think
course.
it. I mean, I don't. It's just funny when you have that memory to go, oh yeah, well maybe.
Did he make you wear his son's clothes? Or?
He did. Put me in dangerous situations and try and save me. I did it.
Exactly. So I don't know what this French rhubarb is.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
I don't want to feel stupid.
I googled this.
Uh-huh.
It's not French rhubarb.
Oh right.
They do grow rhubarb in France on the border with Germany. They
dare
call
they?
it rhubarb,
Oh right. Wow.
but it's not the thing that you've been.
What did the Germans call rhubarb?
Rhubarb!
Yeah.
I'm still trying to work out what it was.
So what it is?
Yeah.
What would you use it for? Like to make like desserts or?
Well, no, I don't think it was edible. This stuff. It was literally like almost like a weed, I suppose. Right. So it's and then sometimes at the bowling green we would rip it up and then just like fling it on the bowling green when they were playing and then run off.
What did you love about it?
Because I loved what you could do is you could make these little tunnels and play all these games. You're hiding from,
Right.
and it felt like you're in the army.
Right.
And then we used to have a game, and it just reminds me of the summers. Really, I think that's why I love it because it was such a bit. There was this amazing summer. It was so hot, and we were watching films like T2 and stuff was out, and it was great. And then we go out and play all day, and we used to make games. I always remember there was a game we used to play on the green where all the rhubarb was, and it was called Pitbull Terrier.
Nice. I like that.
Because
yeah.
because there was this big tree.
Be a great British wrestler.
Yeah. Died too young.
Yeah, exactly. Pitbull Terrier. He could have been the best. But so go on.
It was a game where lightning had hit this big tree, and so one of the trunks had gone out like this, and it was
Like Sleepy Hollows.
Yeah.
Fell on some guy's son.
He used to make me lie underneath it.
You know that kid's dead. Get his clothes just in case I find a new one. So go on.
And so so you'd have the tree like that, and then one of the trunks would go out over the green, and there'd be like a slope, so it'd be sort of hanging.
Yeah.
And there'd be a dip underneath it, and underneath it was all the French rhubarb and loads of nettles, stinging nettles.
Oh, perilous.
And it was rumoured that from the allotments there was a Pitbull Terrier that when the kids would look like they were going to go, the guy would just set the Pitbull Terrier on you. So we used to play a game where loads of kids would gather on one towards the end of the trunk, towards the end, and then one kid would stand at the foot of the trunk and proceed to start pissing on the tree.
Right, yeah.
And advance towards the other children.
Right.
And you had to try and avoid the piss.
Wow.
And hold on for as long as possible.
Wow.
And if you didn't want to get pissed on, you'd have to fall into nettles and potentially get attacked by a Pitbull Terrier.
Wow.
And the last one hanging won.
Wow, that is extraordinary.
I don't think there are any real winners in
Well,
Pitbull Terrier.
No, but what I love about that is it's the etymology of like who first came up with that. Just some kid go, you know what we could do? Well,
I think it evolved. I think it started.
He's having a piss in the hedge. Go, seems silly to waste this. You're bored. I need a piss. We all need to exercise. And suddenly a game was what a beautiful pun though.
Yeah, Pitbull Terrier.
Pitbull Terrier.
Beautiful, yeah.
But it is those kind of like I can feel that breathless laughter of like, you know, some kid's got his willy out, he's peeing everywhere.
Yeah.
I imagine you played lots of games like that. I imagine you were kind of very outdoorsy.
I was, yeah. As a kid. Well, my dad used to take us for like lots of walks as kids like, on a Sunday. Because my dad used to work in. He was a forklift driver in a brewery, so he would work really long shifts and nights and stuff. So when he would always make time, even though because my dad, I'm going to go into grim stuff now, but my dad was an orphan when he was growing up, so I think he made an extra effort to be around all the time. Yeah. So part of that was taking us for nice big walks and things.
Yes.
Because he was quite a healthy guy, you know, he was in the army and stuff. So we go on these really long like country walks, but my dad would forget we were like 8. So he'd walk for like 3 miles, but then we're like, we can't walk 3 miles back. And then I remember we were lying on the road once, like crying, and we didn't have mobiles. So my dad was just like, we've got to just get home. We're going, oh my God. But that whole thing of going out and just going for walks and exploring was a thing that he'd sort of.
Whereabouts in the. Where are you kind of like?
The leafy suburbs of Preston.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess there's loads of kind of like countryside around, eh?
Yeah, it's like anywhere, isn't it? You know, there was a lot. Just we used to walk out towards the Asda, and there's lots of beautiful.
Just club cards in the river.
Oh, look, a trolley! Quiet, children. I've never seen one in a while.
Don't startle it. Nice.
Go and get that pound, kids. Another game for Daddy.
What did you have any other kind of games you can remember alongside Pitbull Terrier?
I don't know. Like we used to. I mean, the classic was Knock a Door Run. Yeah. I tried to update the game once because we lived in these terrace houses, and I said to my friends, "Wouldn't it be funny if I knock on the door and then I hide behind a car on the other side of the road, and we all hide there, and then the guy's like, we can look through the window, and that's funny." And they went, "No, we're not doing that." And I was like, "Ooh, I'll trick it. I'll do it." And so I knocked on the door. I remember they were stood at the top of the road, and I went behind the car, and the guy came out looking, and then he just stayed there, and he wouldn't leave. And I went, "You're supposed to go back in the house." And he wouldn't go in. And I was going, "Oh my God, I can't." And I was just needing. And then the door opened behind me from the house just in front of this other car, and I went, "Oh, you gotta be." So I started pretending to do my shoelace up. I always remember this because then the guy went, "Are you all right, John?" And he went, "These kids are knocking on my door again." He said, "Well, there's a kid behind my car." And I went, "Oh." So I stood up and I started to try and walk off. And I'm about 9 or 10. Yeah. And the guy went, "Oh, have you been knocking on my door again?" And I just went, I went, "God, you can't even tie your shoelaces in this country anymore." Like, what?
Oh, nice.
A little 9-year-old.
What a fantastic defense mechanism that is, to become an indignant old lady.
I know, it's so weird.
Stop looking at my derriere.
And that man went on to be the head of reform.
What is your next brilliant thing?
My next brilliant thing is 1993 Ford Escort hatchback.
Oh, nice. What colour? Blue?
Blue, electric blue.
Yeah.
But I think, it would have been.
Somehow it would have been. I remember just like those, like they were always blue.
Yeah, I think it was called like metallic blue or something because it had that slight.
Why does that car hold so much?
That was my first car.
Was it?
Yeah.
It's quite beefy.
Yeah,
for a first car.
Yeah, it was 1.6, and I bought it because my friend was a mechanic when he'd gone straight into an apprenticeship and become a mechanic, and so he found this car and it had all like the big exhaust on it and thing. And I wasn't like I don't know a lot about cars, but as a kid I went, "That looks cool." And it's got motorsport stickers, and then so that was my first car, and I held on to it until it completely fell apart. And
so you would have had a tape deck in there?
Oh yes.
What kind of music was playing?
Well, on my tape deck, I used to make my own compilations. My car got stolen once, and they found it, and they left the radio but taken my cassette, so they must have really liked my mixtapes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that weirdly must have made you feel good.
Yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, I had on there.
What kind of what we dealing with?
Well, it's all. I mean, I was a teenager at the height of Britpop, so I mean, we're talking like, well, Stereophonics was a big one at this stage of my life. Yep. And the Oasis, obviously, pretty much every.
And were you the
Oasis album.
designated driver a lot because you had such a sort of fabulous ride?
Yeah, I think so. Well, we used to drive round uni. It's pathetic, really. But I used to put these big speakers in the back, and we'd just drive around and play MC Hammer's "You Can't Touch This" on loop, just to annoy people outside the beer gardens, which we thought was really funny.
Yeah, nice.
So we just keep going round. I mean, that was our day. It wasn't a lot to do at the time. Didn't have a lot of money.
Was that at uni?
That was at uni, yeah. So I had that car there. And what was your first car?
My first car was a Peugeot 205.
Oh, nice.
It was blue. The brake didn't really work towards the end, so I'd use the handbrake as a brake.
Oh wow!
And
Like Fast and
it
Furious.
had a choke. You know,
yeah, I had a choke,
kind of
yeah.
like a really, really, really thin wheel. Like kind of like, you know, when you'd have like a very sort of thin skateboard, and then suddenly everyone got a fat skateboard, and you couldn't make the transition. I remember when I got like a car with a proper steering wheel as opposed to like a go-kart wheel. It just felt too fat.
Yeah.
To kind of try and move it. Where I lived, having a car was suddenly a passport to another universe.
Yeah.
You know, it was sort of a mile and a half to get to the bus, and then you get on the bus, and then town was 20 minutes. Like, do you know what I mean? It was sort of that. It just felt very far away from things happening.
That's right, yeah. And
But
I think
kind of a great place to grow up, because you then yearn for these places rather than, like, weirdly, I think if I'd have, you know, sort of grown up in London or something like that, you'd just be so sort of used to excitement.
I think, I mean, I suppose that's one of the things. I suppose the thing about Preston was that as a teenager, I could go out and there was lots of pubs and clubs and things, you know, and like Tokyo Joe's, which has since burnt down. But there was just enough. It felt like there was enough nightlife, but it was just that thing. I was a bit scared of falling into I'm going to have a 9 to 5. So, like, you know, not any problem with that. But for me, I was just a bit like, oh, this will be my life, won't it? Like, and I want to get out and just see a bit more of the world before I fall into that. And so I went to Stoke-on-Trent at uni and really, really spread wings. But but it did feel like that was a way to sort of, the car was the thing. Like you say, I can drive now to Manchester. We can go out, you know, hang around in Manchester, which we couldn't, you know, do before and things, and go to gigs that you couldn't go to before. Like we'll go to Birmingham because, you know, Smashing Pumpkins are on, and we can actually get there if we all chip in on petrol rather than worry about trains and stuff. So yeah, it did kind of like. Yeah, it sort of opened a little doorway for me. And having a mate who was a mechanic made it was quite cheap to, you know, maintain. Like when things went wrong. I always remember once though, that I was going to my mate. He was a mechanic in Bamber Bridge, Peter. Now when I was in the car, I was with this set of lights, and I was with my friend Jacob. And I remember going, "That car in front stinks, doesn't it?" I went, "What's wrong with that car in front?" And then I looked, and my bonnet was like on fire. And I went, "What the?" I went, "Oh, I know what this is." And I opened the bonnet, and there was a pink blanket on it on fire. And I had to take the blanket off and throw it on the side. And my dad used to put a blanket on the car engine to keep it warm during winter months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because I don't know if this is a thing. I think he may have made this up, but he said it would stop it from freezing. It would be easier to start in the morning.
Yeah, wow. I've never heard of that.
No, I don't think it's a thing. I think he might have made it up with a little hot water bottle.
So what did you do? You just like threw this
burning
rag
and then got back in the car and we just carried on.
There's a massive fire behind you. Like, that's someone else's problem.
Like a match there behind me.
Yeah, it's sort of God, that's so weird, eh?
Like the first one of us to drive, well, Peter, the mechanic, was the first to drive, but my first other mate was, the second was Simon, and he had this car. He got a brand new Hyundai Accent on credit for some reason, and I think his mum and dad had sorted it. It was something like this, and we were at college, went to the library to photocopy the sleeve notes of Mariah Carey's new album because we were teenagers, and we went there. And then we got in the car, and it was in the car park, I always remember. And he'd been showing off because it was brand new. And he was going like, oh, it's still got that new car smell. And then we sat there, and I didn't know how to drive at the time. And I was sat in the passenger seat, and he said, I wonder if I can drive using my hands on the pedals to get the biting point. And I thought, yeah, probably. I don't know how a car works. I suppose so, if you're using your feet. And he went, all right. He said, well, so he started doing, he was just outside the car doing this. And he went, put it in gear. And I went, all right, okay. He went, I just take the handbrake off. And I took the handbrake off. So, of course, the car just shot straight forward into a tree.
Fuck.
My head smashed on the windscreen. I fell back in the car. And then the airbag kind of went...
Yeah.
like, no, sorry, you've already dealt with it. And then dust
I love
went
that. So
everywhere.
the airbag, the airbag was like, I missed that one.
Yeah. Whoops, sorry. Still here,
exactly. Oh God, I had one job. Bloody, what a
The one time I look away, and then.
But it's so like wild, isn't it? Like, but do you think I can drive a car with my hands? You're like, that is like, but that's boys, isn't it? That is teenage boys. Like, are there any girls that have ever had that fucking conversation of like, Jesus Christ?
It was ridiculous, and he was really funny, my mate. And the problem is as well, I was stuck underneath the glove compartment. We thought the dust was fire. And I looked back and went, Simon! And I thought this is the perfect time for the car to blow up, but it didn't anyway. So sadly, I'm sorry. But and then Simon put his head in. I always remember just to go. He go, oh my God! He was obviously in shock. He went, oh, it's lost that new car smell.
Is that what he said?
He genuinely did.
Wow.
And I was like, well, fair play, Simon. You've done well there. But yeah, that was just mad. That was.
Did you laugh in that moment?
We did, yeah. But we.
But that's incredible
to
have that.
Funny, yeah.
But to have that gift for that to supersede my mum's gonna kill me, my dad's gonna kill me, but to have that kind of ta-da.
Yeah, and it was and because so we went to the pub next door, not to drink, but to have like a Coke or something, and he was ringing, and he couldn't ring his mum because his mum worked just down the road, and she literally drove past whilst we weren't there and just saw Simon's car wrapped around a tree, and thought we were died and didn't know what had happened, and we got out, we rang her. And then we managed to see, he went, oh, my mum's behind the car. She must have been coming back from work, and she was absolutely having a breakdown.
Oh,
meanwhile, we're laughing about, oh, it's lost a new car smell. His mum's going, I've lost my firstborn son. You know, so
wept.
So it's terrible.
And there's an old man going, tell me about it. Let's get you in these trousers. What? This is such a horrible callback. We can try and get this going throughout the entire show. We should talk actually on that note, because you've got a new show, and to let everyone know, basically there's quite a thing in comedy of like the dead parent show.
Yeah.
But you've had a sort of a genius idea, a spin on this genre,
Well, it kind of, so years ago I did a show called Unplanned Orphan where I pretended, and it was done straight that I'd been adopted, but I only found out when I was 30. And that was the show, and all the promotion on radio and everything was about that. And then obviously it falls apart. It's quite obvious I've just kind of made it up, but I'm still trying to hold on to it. But I've done all the different kinds of shows. Then I thought this year, because my mum is very ill, and she's a fantastic person, my mum, and a very strong person, things. But I thought everyone does the dead, like you said, the dead dad or the dead mum show, and that usually does very well. Maybe an award nomination, some 4 or 5 stars. So I thought, let's do it now while she's still alive.
Genius.
So I mean, I've already flagged it with her, and she's kind of keen. Kind of keen. Something to do, isn't it? And so my mum and dad are very supportive. They come to all my shows and that in Edinburgh. So she's going to be, they're usually up there pretty much most of the time.
Oh, great.
So, I'm going to do the dead mum show while she's still alive.
Perfect.
So she can enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. It's a really great idea.
Yeah, so I'll do all the things, talk about the truth, about her diagnosis and things and the treatment and stuff, and then bring her out at the end.
Yes, but the idea is so great. It's such a to kind of, sort of like beautiful eulogy where they're there.
Yeah.
What is the next brilliant thing?
I think we'll go a bit light. Rik Mayall is my next brilliant thing.
Right.
Is my favourite comedian of all time. And I mean, there's a lot up there, like Vic and Bob and, the League of Gentlemen and everyone. They're very important to me. But
if I were to say a Rik Mayall line, what leaps out straight away? Because for me, it's 1 potato or 2? 2, please. No. Fucking 1. Like that. It's sort of from I think from Hooligans Island. It's the live one. Like, where he's no. Fucking 1.
All right.
Yeah.
Mine that I use probably more than ever. I mean, there's so many, but I like when I leave a mo, I go leave a room. I go, see you in a mo, and then I come back, a sex mo, and then walk out. That's my favorite. I loved because it's just so ridiculous, isn't it? I loved Kevin Turvey as well, like because it's the early bird that gets worms, and stuff like. And
Ben Elton speaks about him in a very interesting way. That it's almost like Ben Elton of his era was like this self-made mechanic, and he built his car, and he kind of, thought about everything that his car could do. And he was like, right, I've got a vehicle, here it is. Whereas Rik Mayall would just kind of come on and be this kind of like gas and travel through the air quicker than a car. Without any attempt. Do you know what I mean? Like there'd been no, and that's kind of like, he genuinely had that thing where he could go, "Ugh," and it was funnier than, the best crafted Bill Hicks line or a Pryor line or whatever. It's that sort of funny bones thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the thing I've always loved in comedy, is people naturally funny. Like a Bob Mortimer is just naturally funny. That the funny bones thing is such a, when you're in the room with someone or watching someone on stage like that, it's mesmerizing. It's just
it's like, funny, isn't it? Because you have that as well. But it's interesting that a funny bones comedian was watching a funny bones comedian going, "Oh, I like this."
Yeah.
Like, but do you see what I mean? It's kind of like, because all you can learn from Rik Mayall is to just be yourself.
Yeah, I think that's the main thing. I think for years when I started, when you start out, you're such a different comic, aren't you? And I think I was trying to be Vic Reeves, very much so. Like, I had a lot of props, and it was like weird, surreal kind of going off on tangents and things. And it wasn't me. And for Vic Reeves, it fits perfectly, and that was like really exciting comedian, And then I went, "Oh, this isn't really me." And then I was really into Andy Kaufman, and so all my shows were very much set up. And then when I did my second show, which was a kids show called Funs and Games, I wanted to subvert the kids show, so I was making an adult show, put it in the kids section, but it was not too rude, all these things. And then I went, "Oh, you can't do this like a Kaufman where you play it straight, and why don't you do it fun and actually enjoy doing it?" And that was when I went into going, "Yeah, you're a funny comedian, you're naturally funny.
Yeah,
that's what you loved." And that's the thing about, you say about Rik Mayall, that's what I got into comedy, because I loved watching him be so funny, natural. Like so in that Kevin Turvey thing, there's a bit where he just looks a different way, like the camera's then, he just goes, and then he looks at, and it's such a weird little moment, but it's so funny, and you go, that's a choice he's made, because he knows it'll make maybe the cameraman laugh, or and it's just.
Did you ever meet him?
I did, once.
Did you?
Yeah, and I'd been trying to meet him. I was that nerd that used to hang around after shows, and I saw a couple of the Bottom Lives.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I saw.
Whereabouts?
So I went. One I saw at Hammersmith. We saw the four. I think we saw the last one there. The 2001 An Arse Oddity.
Yeah.
There, and then I think we saw. Oh no, we saw that one. Yeah, at Hammersmith. Saw that one at Hammersmith. But I always missed him, because it was one of those. It was quite such big gigs. You can't expect them to stand there and shake so many hands. So I went to see the New Statesman live at the Stoke-on-Trent one. Yeah, and I met him after that, and I couldn't. And it was so embarrassing, because I was trying to I was waiting in the queue, and then he said, "Look, I'm not very well." He says, "But I'll sign all your stuff." He said, "I'm just sorry. I'd normally hang around a bit longer."
Yeah.
And I just couldn't stop shaking, because I was so like. It's like the guy I've adored for years.
Yeah.
And then he went, "Who's next?" And this lady went, this young, I was young at the time, "This young man's been waiting." And he went, "Oh, what have you got?" And I took my Kevin Turvey video.
Yeah.
And he went, "Oh, I haven't seen this for years. Thank you for bringing this." And I went, "It meant so much to me." And then I couldn't speak. And then this woman, I always remember this woman went, "Look at him, he's shaking." I was like, "All right, mate, thanks." And then he went, "It's all right." He says, "Oh, I really appreciate you bringing that." He said, "It's nice to see it again." And then he said, "Oh, don't be nervous." And he put his arm around me, and I went, "Eh." And I just couldn't speak, basically. And then he signed my stuff, and we had a photo of giving the V's and everything.
Great.
And it was just great. That's all I needed, like a really nice little moment.
Yeah.
And it was, for me, that was a really lovely. Did you ever meet him?
No. I kind of, it's kind of. Yeah, I'd love to have met him, but again, I imagine the electricity coming off him was wild, particularly post-show.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
because even though he said he was ill, he was really giving a lot of love and time to people, which I thought was a really nice memory of him as well. But it's just everything. Like, I used to take all my mates to the cinema to see every film, like Bring Me the Head of Mavis Davis and stuff that people probably won't remember. Like, and the
Drop Dead Fred.
Drop Dead Fred. Yeah, I mean, that's such. Weird. It was like a box office disappointment, but it's such a big part of everyone's childhood.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's funny that he never, went sort of stratospheric and sort of, crossed over into kind of Hollywood. Oddly, had he played the right kind of comic relief in a kind of, early 90s film, he could have ended up being this kind of huge...
After Drop Dead Fred was a critical failure, he said he was relieved it had been a critical failure because he didn't want to go and live in LA.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah, I read a really interesting interview with him because I was always like that. I felt a bit sad when Jim Carrey was coming up. I was always a bit resentful.
Well, there you go. He was absolutely the British version of that.
Yeah, and that was, and then I read an interview like that he said that, and it was him saying. He said, and it was during the filming of Drop Dead Fred, weirdly, and they went, "What's it like?" And he went, "Oh, it's great. They pick you up in a limo and that." He said, I prefer a live studio audience because he obviously fed off that energy and he likes making people laugh in the room. Like you say about making the kids laugh and stuff. It's and I went, oh, you totally see that because he does feel a bit off. Like even in the bottom film, it's not quite the same energy because it's just do as opposed to him, being as big as possible. Like you said, doing the and all that and just making because he knows that'll get a big laugh. I know Alexis Sale a bit because he played my dad in my sitcom. It was funny because obviously Rik played Greg's dad in Man Down. I had Alexis Sale for me, and I love Alexis. Like, he's a great. He's one of my heroes as well. From that era, and he always speaks very fondly of Rik. But he does obviously acknowledge that thing of that he did want to. You could like it was almost like there was no point kind of trying to be as funny.
Right.
Because it must be weird being in a troupe or a double act with someone like him because you kind of go, right, well, he's going to be the main focus of this and I'll sit in the background and might get an episode of my own later or something, but I don't know, it's a weird, but yeah, he was just such a, everything, and I loved his straight acting as well. He did that Rik Mayall Presents series, and I loved it. I've basically got everything. I've got everything of Rik Mayall to the point I've got like an educational VHS cut out of my head, which is an anti-drugs thing.
Oh, really?
Which is him talking about different drugs, but then doing characters, which is an odd one. But it was for sale in HMV. It wasn't like I didn't have to go through the black market to get it. But
no, he's an absolute genius. What is the next brilliant thing?
Next brilliant thing, Blackpool.
Okay, I was there recently.
What were you doing? A show?
I was doing. I did a gig for Jason Manford at the Winter Gardens.
Oh yeah,
and there was a fantastic bakery, and I think it was Pound something.
Poundland?
Not Poundland, but it was like. But there was a phenomenal
the Pound Bakery.
It might have been that, but there was a brilliant advert on the front. There was a picture of a sausage roll, and it said, "Our sausage rolls are 35% bigger than Greg's." And I love that because some maniac has measured that.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? It's just the idea of them buying a sausage roll from Greg's and then figuring out the percentage and then kind of hitting them back.
50% less quality.
Yeah, but it was...
it tastes like shit, but it's bigger.
Yeah, it was such a brilliant gig.
Great.
It was really great.
Was it a solo show?
It was just this gig that Jace had. That it was me, Emmanuel Sanubi, Macy Adams, and Hayley Ellis, and then me, and it was just like, I think it was like part of like the comedy festival or something. Jason was just basically like, "Do you want to kind of do this?" Like, yeah, fine. But I've never done a gig there.
Right.
Luckily, it's strange, but I really enjoyed it.
It's a run-down seaside town, obviously, but it's what I love about it is there's this romantic. I try and remember what it was like, what it would have been like in its heyday, with like the circus washing the elephants on the beach. There's all these amazing photographs of that, and obviously I don't think these circuses should have animals anymore. So, and but you can everywhere you go, there are like echoes of how beautiful it once was and how popular. And my family, my mum was from Blackpool. My nana used to work on the Pleasure Beach when I was a kid. She worked on the monorail. So it's the most boring ride you could get on for free. Fucking, it's just a slow train that used to go around all the other rides and go, hey, you could have gone on that.
Was mono for monotonous? It was like that, of just kind
of... Again.
So it's real, like, so you're from sort of Blackpool kind of entertainment royalty.
Yeah. Although I went back there for a gig about 10 years ago at the Pleasure Beach. And this guy had gone... Phil Walker, you know, Roy Walker's
Yes,
son.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
Korean.
yeah.
So he said, "Come and do this afternoon gig." And I was like, and I got there, I went, "This is like a corporate. This isn't an afternoon gig." And it was all these entrepreneurs of Blackpool, and they've been drinking champagne and going on the roller coasters since 11.
Bloody hell.
And I got on at 3.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the right fit because it's like really good acts, but very much Blackpool. These joke punch, you know, very entertainers.
Yes.
And then I'm sat there on the table with the owner of the Pleasure Beach, and I was like, "Well, my nana used to work on the Pleasure Beach." She was like, "Oh, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing your act." So I went, "Okay, well, this is me." And within 2 minutes, the whole room was booing. And, so I went on, and I went, "Oh, you look like a cheeky chap," and he went, "Fuck off," and I went, "Okay, and that's all right." And then I went, "Anyway, so my wife left me or whatever." I'm making up this bit, and I'm going, "So I'm this," and they all just went, "Oh," and they all started like booing and talking. I went, "Look, guys," I went, "I've got 15 minutes." I went, "I'll take 2 noises. I'm not like the others. I'll just take 2 noises: silence or fake laughter." So we'll just go with that, right? And they went, "Oh, yeah," then we did it again, and then they started murmuring and booing again. I went, "Look, I clearly need this. Please, just be." I went, "Are you all right?" He went, "Fuck off." Another guy went, "Brilliant, yeah, 2 for 2." I went, "Right." So then I went back into it. And then they all just started booing. And I said, "Right, if you boo again, I'm going to get off the stage, I'm going to pick a chair up, and I'm just going to start swinging it." Right? Which I thought was funny.
Yeah, yeah.
So they booed. So I got off the stage, and I got a chair in each arm. Like Ripley at the end of Aliens. And I went, "Who was booing? Was it you?" And I thought, well, if I go that big, they'll find this funny. Anyway, now it's dead silent. And I'm going, "You? Was it you?" And I went, "Oh, not so cocky now." And then I sat on this is one of the worst gigs I've ever had. And apparently they still say, "He's not coming back, is he?"
Oh, really?
They do it every year. And I sat on the stage, and I went to the guy who told me to fuck off at first. I went, "Do you think we could have been friends in another life?" And he went, "No, fuck off." And I went, "What?" And then this old guy went, "Yeah, fuck off." I went, "You can fuck off, you silly old fuck." Like in your blue Febreze suit from the 80s. I said, "You fucking tie rack." I went, "Fuck you." And then I got on the stage. And then they all started booing. I went, "Fuck you, your town's dead." I went, "Your town, entrepreneurs." I went, "You charge people to sit on a donkey. Is that your business plan?" And they were going, "Boo, boo." And it was going so bad. I went, "Boo away, you fucking." And then, so it's all. And then I looked, and I swear to God, a Nolan sister was booing and telling me to fuck off. And I went, "Is that a Nolan?" And she was going, "Fuck off." I was like, "This is like the truth."
So I guess crucially, what do you love about that? Because given that you said, "Oh, Blackpool," then you've told one of the most harrowing gig stories imaginable.
But it's weird because I kind of enjoyed it because it was going. I was like, "Well, this is what it is, isn't it?" And I can't get them. And then apparently Phil said that the owner was like hitting him with a tea towel, like going, "Get him off, get him off." He was going, "No." And then I did my time. I went, "Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Keep spotting live comedy." And then I left, and I went, "Is there a?" And they went, "We're going to take you through the kitchen." And I got through the kitchen and got shoved in my rental car, and I just sort of So yeah, lots of memories.
But so, I stand by what I said. So what is it?
Yeah. So what is it?
What is it you love? Given the premise of this show and everything else you mentioned, you like
self-hate.
So what is it? Is it nostalgia? Is it kind of?
It's
potential of it. Do you like the sea air? What is it?
You like crime?
Yeah, I don't know what is it.
Danger.
For me, when I was there the other day, just because I haven't gigged in the UK since my son was born, so the first time I'd been in a British city, during a weekend, and I'd forgotten what it was like to be stared at like I was an ostrich in a Starbucks.
Right.
And I like that, but that. Do you know what I mean? And I love the fact that every young man in Blackpool either looks like Phil Foden or Cole Palmer. Like, do you like all the youngins? And you can. It's a game you can play.
Yeah.
If you go to Blackpool, go Foden or Palmer, and I guarantee there'll be very few. You might get a couple of Luke Littlers that slip through, but for the majority, it's Fodens and Palmers.
Yeah, you're probably right. It's a weird mix. It is honestly.
But
yes,
it felt
trashy.
It felt trashy, but but the gig was electric, and it's the interesting thing, isn't it? That those places that are kind of, I don't know, trying to fit. You sound like such a fucking twat, but those forgotten places, but kind of, God, they can make gigs great.
That's it, and I think it's such an interesting. I think what it is, like you said, there's potential. I look at all these beautiful old hotels, and you go in them, and they're sort of falling apart, but you can see how beautiful they were once.
Yeah.
It's like it's like the scene of the Titanic when it's there all under the sea, and then it goes and it goes back to what it was like, you know, with Rose and Jack coming down. So it's that kind of thing. I sometimes look and go, God, imagine how beautiful that was, and I genuinely enjoy, like my friend Ruth and Keith live up there, and I go and see them. And we go on trips and we go to the hotels where they still have old school entertainment in the hotel. And you just go in and go, we're here for the entertainment. They go, oh, all right. And then there'll be some lady doing Tina Turner, and then she'll go into, and she's changed the racist jokes. So you go, this blonde went into a bar. No, that's how they've changed it.
Yeah.
And then you go, yeah, she's telling a joke. And then she'll go back into Dancing Queen. Yeah. And I'm like, I love all that. And so I kind of like an old school, I love looking at, the old school entertainment going on there. And like North Pier, which used to... So when I was a kid, Chubby Brown had a residency, and he looked, because he used to wear the flying goggles and we thought he was a kid's entertainer. So we're like, can we go and see Chubby Brown? Mum and Dad were like, no, you're never going to see Chubby Brown. And the North Pier used to be such a thing that we used to go and see Russ Abbott there, Brian Connolly, Lily Savage. And I remember we went to see Lily Savage. We had a spare ticket because my brother didn't want to go last minute because he just thought, I'm not going to the Lily Savage. I don't want to stay in or whatever. And so we went, and we had a spare ticket. And my dad went, well, we'll give it to this guy. And I went, Dad. And he went over to a guy dressed in a silver suit, holding a unicycle and clubs, because it was a variety show. And he went, are you looking for a ticket? I went, he's clearly in the fucking show, isn't he? He's not walking around dressed. It's not London. He's wearing he's got. And he's like, oh no, we're actually in the show. He went, oh, all right. I'm like, what? What?
Yeah. I mean, wild. Yeah.
But I just love. Yeah, I know it's a bit cheesy and it is a bit tacky, but there's some charm there, and it does remind me a lot of when I was younger. And
I think people don't appreciate how big it was in its heyday. So, at its heyday, it had over 17 million visitors per year, Blackpool,
Oh, really?
Wow.
which made it the third most popular tourist destination in the whole world,
Wow.
ahead of the Taj Mahal, the Grand Canyon, and the Empire State Building.
Wow.
It just the density of people going there was massive.
So there were people coming from...
So many people coming from around Britain. That it
Right.
would take 17 million visitors a year. It was the place.
Yeah.
And Hitler saved it because it was going to be the Nazi pleasure resort.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's where he and his
But funny taste, Hitler, because but he was also he was fond of Norwich as well.
Yeah.
So Norwich was also saved because he was like that was going to be his kind of I guess East Coast hang.
Yeah. Had he ever visited these places?
But I don't know. But it's just the idea that like imagine them kind of like right. Hitler's sent a telegram.
Yeah.
What? Leave Blackpool and Norwich.
In some respects, he was a real romantic. With these ideas of being in Blackpool.
Yeah, dear Adolf. What
Nazis
about
off ready when I
Dear
come home.
Adolf, what about Coventry? Fucking level it. Okay, fine. Like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's just like really hate. But it's the idea that he fucking hated Coventry. What is this is your final brilliant thing, I believe.
Oh yeah. So this is my final brilliant thing are hedgehogs.
Okay. Okay. Why?
Just brilliant, aren't they?
Yeah, okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Case closed. Well, I really enjoyed that. It was a cracking episode.
Why not buy my hedgehog book? It's very short.
What is it about hedgehogs?
I don't know. I do know. When I was a kid, my mum used to read stories, like make-up stories for us, and my favourite was when she was really tired one night and she couldn't be bothered. And it was usually like talking animals and stuff.
Yeah,
and she just went, once it was like to Blackpool. She went, once there was a fly. I don't know. It flew around, got out to sea in Blackpool, got stuck in a piece of shit floating, died. Right, night. And that was it. And she went, night, kids. And I went, happy with that. I can imagine it going over the sea. But she used to do this thing where it was Herbie Hedgehog and Sammy Squirrel, and I was Herbie Hedgehog and my brother was Sammy Squirrel. So, and there were little stories about that. So that started my love of hedgehogs. And then as I got older, it sort of stuck with me, and I just loved the way they look. They've got this cute little thing where they wrap up in a little ball. The way they get up and all of a sudden, like the legs go up and then they just sort of scuttle off. I love that, like a little whoop, then they're off. I mean, they're flea-ridden, but my God, they've got a cute little snout. I like the little hedgehog highways they try and put in gardens.
Yeah, and the little kind of like underground kind of motorway sort of
Yeah.
like, bypasses they've got.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible. Do they work?
No, God, no. No, I've killed so many this week.
Yeah. Mad, isn't it? Yeah, no, they are cute.
Yeah.
They are cute. Have you ever owned one?
No, I remember finding one on this. It was like out in the day, which is always a bad sign for a hedgehog. So I was trying to get it, coax it back to my house. And I remember I lived in Burnage Estate in Manchester, where the Gallaghers are from. And I was just trying to get this hedgehog. There was this couple of these two girls went, "What you doing? Is that you?" And I went, "I'm just trying to get it in my house." And I went, "That doesn't sound any better, does it?" They went, "That's weird." I went, "Yeah, it's not weird. Just leave it. I'm going, all right, let me just shepherd this hedgehog. All right, guys." And they sort of... So I got him in house and got him in a box, took him to a vet. And they went, "Yeah, we'll let you know how we get on." It was the weekend. And on Monday, I went, "How did the hedgehog get on?" And she went, "Well, he was really well on Saturday." I went, "Oh, that's good." Sunday, really perked up, eating a lot. I went, "Oh, right, died this morning." I went, "Oh, for fuck's don't do the first bit. Just tell me it died." What's this? Give me all this hope.
Would a vet look after him?
I reckon they just fucking bricked it.
No.
They bend it immediately. Like, tell him a story.
No, they're
They are money hungry pieces of shit.
No, they're obsessed.
Vets
love animals. Like, unless they're putting an act on, but like every single dog. It's a bit like, nurses. Like when my son was born, I couldn't believe it. Like all these nurses, they loved all the babies. Yeah. And to, maternity nurses, babies must be like emails. Right. But you see them every day. Yeah. You can't like all of them, surely. And yet they do. And it's the same with vets.
It's like, not the same.
It is. Vets love animals.
I'd ignore them like emails.
But it's a calling. No, I won't hear ill. Like, it's a calling, man. They love it. I couldn't do it. Like, fuck. And similarly with babies, you see some kids and you're like, yuck. He looks like a store detective. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? When you see a little kid and he's like, here he comes, you're like, yeah, here he fucking comes. Do you know what I mean? He's all kind of, when you see a little baby and you're like, oh, no, not that one. But you have to keep it internal. Vets don't, that's what I'm saying. They'll rub any dog. Whereas I only, I've got no time for dogs other than the one I own. Otherwise, fuck them.
I was going to say, do you have any pets?
Yeah, I've got a dog and I, who I like. I don't love him because my love was for the old dog. And I've been very clear about this with my wife and it's causing a few issues. And she's like, you are joking, aren't you? I'm like, I'm not joking. I like him. I don't love him. I love the old one. This one's all right. Yeah. He's now become a therapy dog. The day after he passed to become a therapy dog, he rubbed himself in fox shit and I had to clean him down.
I saw.
He's a menace, and he's got no business being around troubled kids. Is what I'll say. Anyways, I hijacked that. What do you like about Hedgehog?
I saw a therapy. I thought it was. I saw a therapy dog the other day. It was a pug.
Ah,
the fuck's that gonna help?
Yeah,
exactly. I think the heavy breathing of that is like a panic attack in itself. Exactly. You're in a panic attack, and there's a pug next to you going.
Yeah, exactly.
Matching your breathing.
Fucking right. Just if you've got a pug as a therapy dog, just play with your balls. Like, do you know what I mean? Just put your hands down your trousers, sing the national anthem, and let the world come to you. Yeah, totally, man. Like, it's like
it's like it's mocking you.
Yeah. But like the whole therapy dog thing is like absolute. Just the audacity to sort of say, no, when I go on a plane, I need a dog. And you're like, oh, yeah, those well-known aviation experts. Like, how did they, like a dog is calm. What the fuck, what's happening? Bullshit.
I can't go to parents' evening without my XL bully.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so hedgehogs.
Yeah, hedgehogs.
I'm kind of a bit like, I feel bad. I'm slightly indifferent.
Yeah,
I get it.
I
get it. But what's
hedgehog.
Interesting, it's sort of as a 43-year-old man, it feels very much like it is an animal you grow out of. Like hedgehogs, normally sort of 8-year-old girls, little boys like them, but you still like them as an adult is fascinating.
Yeah, well, I think because there's loads of when I was a kid, I went through a weird phase of I can't
believe that.
And it's lasted 43 years.
Go on.
And because my brother was always really funny, and I wasn't very funny. I was a bit shy, so I thought it was a bit funny. Because I was so shy, if someone spoke to me, I went through a phase. I don't know how long it lasted, but I'd only reply if I went with my mum and dad or brother. I'd only respond with words Hedgehog NO.
Okay.
And it
So
it sounds
when you were
weird.
how old?
23, 24. Touring soon. I think I was about 4, 5,
okay.
5, 6, something like that. And it all came to a head when I went to Butler. We used to go to Butlins, and Rod Hull and Emu were on, and they came down. Oh, sorry, and they came down to get someone out of the audience, and I was going, "Oh, please not me, please
Jesus,
not me."
as a shy boy, Rod Hull and Emu. I mean, it doesn't get more terrified, doesn't it? So I'm quite nervous of adults. I just find them a bit. Oh, good God! What is that? I'm just like
Even a confident adult would shit themselves.
Yeah, exactly. But my God, like this this man has figured out a way that he's allowed to touch anybody. Do you know what I mean? And like he just goes into any situation. He's been on Parkinson and manhandled him. You are dead. So what happens? So you see Hull arrive and you're like, fuck.
He's coming down. I went, I know it's going to be, please don't be, please don't. And he came down and he got me, and I went, oh. And he took me on the stage, and I stood there, and I kind of remember how scared I was.
Yeah.
And then he was going, so what's your name? And I went, Hedgehog NO. And he moves out going,
Did he get quite serious in that moment where he was like, and then just picked another kid?
No, this is
Really?
the problem, right? So it kind of gets a bit worse because
Okay.
you could kind of see he was like, what? And he didn't quite hear, and then people kind of laugh because they're like, this is a bit weird, this kid. And then he went, I went, what's your name? I went, Hedgehog NO. And he was like, I don't know. Like, he's like, I don't know what to do.
To
with
gales
this.
of laughter.
Yeah.
And this is this is probably like 1999 or something like that.
Oh no, this is 80. This would be like 86 or something.
Right,
88.
yeah. So
something
like,
87,
so it's classic here.
Yeah,
you know, a little boy made a mistake, everyone laughing,
Yeah.
adult picking. Yeah, it's a different world. Whereas now it'd be like, oh, that kid's not very well.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Go on, Rod, finish
Yeah,
it.
fuck him up, Rod.
Wrapping me around his stupid little neck.
Yeah,
Smack some confidence into him.
exactly. Best gig I've ever seen. Go on.
He just gets...
He's pissed himself, Rod. Go on. So
Hedgehog, yes.
yeah, exactly. So go on.
So then he's saying, what sort of music do you like? I went, Hedgehog, no. I can hear my name.
And Rod looks at you, looks at the crowd, just mimes the word simple bastard. And again, the applause, adults and kids alike.
So then I'm like shaking and not knowing what to. So then my mum appears, and I always remember she's like over here. She goes, "You can't take one without the other." And my brother's there crying, going, "Oh,
Jesus,
should have been on."
wept.
So I'm like,
he's got slung up.
So now he's like, "Fucking," he's got my brother who's really like,
exactly. Meerkat, yes, come on, lad.
So my brother ends up on stage. So now me and my brother are there, but my brother was really excitable and confident. So Andrew starts just doing the whole. So Andrew just then takes over and weirdly saves the gig. But then I'm just stood in the. There's always photos, but I'm just sort of stood in the back, like really creepy, like this little demon child. I was watching, and then Andrew's singing a song at one point. He's like, he's found his moment. He's like, do, 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 do. And I'm at the back going, Hedgehog NO, Hedgehog NO. Wow. And started dancing and stuff. What is weird is years and years later, we got tickets for the Little Britain live show. And we'd end up going. We were late because I didn't think we knew we had them or something. And so we ended up going late. I said, "We'll have to go." And it was at the Winter Gardens, and no besmirchment on the Little Britain Live tour. But I wasn't really. It was one of those I wasn't really up for going and things. So we went. We sat there with my partner at the time, and I shit you not, he's doing that Wiki Woo character, you know, the kids presenter.
Yeah,
and I'm sat there because I've come in late and I've got my coat and my scarf on. And he comes down the aisle to pick someone. I went, "You've got to be fucking kidding!" And he did, and he picked me, and I went, "Not again!" And I had to go up on stage.
And if you'd have said Hedgehog NO to them, that would have been like another catchphrase for a Little Britain character. Well,
Hedgehogs, eh?
Hey,
yeah. Hedgehogs.
brilliant. Hedgehogs,
Well,
yeah.
what I enjoyed about that is that we started off with 5 topics, and I don't know if we spoke about any of the actual topics,
Yeah, no.
but somehow we've learnt a lot. I really enjoyed that, mate.
Oh no, thank you very much for having me on. It's
Absolute
an
pleasure.
absolute pleasure. Yeah. I feel like I've been negative about all my 5
Not in
brilliant
the
things.
slightest. No, it was terrific. But that's the whole point of this. It was a wonderful window into the mind of Phil Ellis.
Oh my